transitioning in different ways? So instead of just walking to the car, how about frog jumping? How about wheelbarrow walking? How about any number of other things he could come up with? What kind of animal do you want to be to go to the car? What kind of noises should we make? Should we bark like a dog? Like whatever you can do to make it fun and engaging, you're going to have to do it with him because he's 4 and he might be more motivated when you do it with him because most kids are. But how can you make the transition to and from the car more fun and engaging?
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Jessica. And this is All Things Sensory by Harkla.
We are both certified occupational therapy assistants, and together with Harkla, we are on a mission to empower parents, therapists, and educators to help raise confident and strong children of all abilities.
On this podcast, we chat about all things sensory, diving into special needs, occupational therapy, parenting, self-care, overall health and wellness, and so much more.
We are here to provide raw, honest, and fun strategies, ideas, and information for parents, therapists, and educators, as well as other professionals to implement into daily life.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey there, welcome to All Things Sensory podcast. We're so happy to have you. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Jessica, and today we are answering a listener question all about eloping, which is not running away to get married.
No.
Not in this.
Different.
Not today.
No. I mean, you could do that if you want to, but we're not going to tell you what to do about that.
No.
We've talked about this previously, and we'll link the episodes that we've talked about in, but we got a question about it. So we're going to read the question, and we're going to kind of brainstorm through some strategies and what we would recommend in this situation.
Okay.
Jessica's going to read it because I don't have a voice.
Okay, here's the question. My 4-year-old son has sensory processing disorder with high-functioning autism. He's a Gestalt language learner. We've been doing OT and speech for 6 months, but we can't figure out how to prevent eloping in parking lots and helping him understand the dangers of moving vehicles. We hold on to him on his arm, but he recently started running out of the door of public places. He responds well to proprioceptive input, but he thinks running away and running towards roads is a fun game. I always repeat before leaving a building, when we go in the parking lot, and he finishes the sentence, hold mom's hand. But he recently stopped wanting to do this. I heard tapping is an option with elopers. Any other ideas to understand safety and tactics to keep him safe? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So some of our ideas that we had brainstormed when we were talking about this, maybe looking at a sticker chart, keeping track of the, positive things that he's doing and rewarding him when he is holding mom's hand, or maybe like holding mom, maybe he needs something else to hold on to. I don't know. Maybe mom's hand he's just like not super into. Maybe you can like hold something in your hand that he can hold on to, and he's holding on to the extension of mom's arm.
Sure. Yeah.
Whatever it is. But getting a sticker to put on the chart, and then once he feels, gets a couple of stickers, he gets to pick out a prize, something to reward him, or some sort of way of rewarding him for when he is doing it the right way and he is being safe. That could be something to try.
Yep. I like that. I was also thinking having him carrying something. Maybe he has a weighted blanket that he likes, or a heavy backpack that he can carry.
Harkla weighted dog.
The Harkla weighted lap animal. Something heavy that he can carry from the car into the building, from the building back to the car. You said he responds well to proprioceptive input, so that might be helpful for that transition, but also transitioning in different ways. So instead of just walking to the car, how about frog jumping? How about wheelbarrow walking? How about any number of other things he could come up with? What kind of animal do you want to be to go to the car? What kind of noises should we make? Should we bark like a dog? Like whatever you can do to make it fun and engaging, you're going to have to do it with him because he's 4 and he might be more motivated when you do it with him because most kids are. But how can you make the transition to and from the car more fun and engaging?
I was also thinking lean into what he's enjoying. He obviously thinks it's loads of fun to run and race to the road. But
I was also going to say chasing him is why he thinks it's a game.
Yes, but what if you race to the car? Okay, who's going to win? We're going to race to the car. Ready, set, stop. Oh, don't go yet. So ready, set, go! Run, 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 run,
And
run.
you run with him.
And first person to touch the car wins, you know? And just making that, maybe making that like a silly game that you do together. And that way he'd be more motivated to run to the car rather than run in the opposite direction to the road. Where, unfortunately, this isn't one of those situations where we can be like, well, okay, well, learn your lesson, because that's just not safe.
No,
at all. Yeah.
No. And that's where the conversation of expected, unexpected, or maybe safe and not safe comes in. You know, he's 4, so learning about those concepts is going to take time and consistency. He's also a Gestalt language processor, so you're going to need to change how you're talking to him about this. Instead of telling him, okay, it's not safe to run in the road, you know, talk to your speech therapist. Maybe they are an expert in Gestalt language processing, so they can help you figure it out. Maybe using pictures of what's safe and what's not safe, having a safe body. Okay, that's not safe. Maybe using the reward system with it of, okay, if you're having a safe body when we go to the car, you get your sticker. If you're not going to have a safe body to the car, I have to carry you. Something like that.
Yeah. I was even thinking, if none of these strategies are working, could you get a handicapped sign for your car and
be able to park closer?
Park closer. And that way he's not having to risk his life crossing the street, and you're just right there when you're parking and going into a location.
Yeah.
I don't know what all the regulations are with that. But
yeah. And I think, you know, helping him understand what's safe and what is not safe does take time. Talk about cars and when cars are moving, how it can be dangerous. I mean, just have those conversations with him. Maybe watch videos.
I was going to say, maybe there's some videos on
about teaching safety with cars.
Yeah.
Maybe, you know, if you're at your therapy appointment and you're doing the debriefing in the waiting room and he runs out, maybe change that so he gets done in therapy and you guys immediately transition to the car in a fun way. He gets his sticker because he went straight to the car, and then you can do the debriefing while he's sitting in the car playing with his toys in the car.
Yeah, and the last thing I was thinking was using a social story and creating a social story with him. So you're sitting down together and you're making pictures and you're writing the instructions. And when I'm leaving the store, when I'm leaving a location, I get into the car with mom. I walk safely. I hold mom's hand. And there's all these pictures of each of these steps. And then when I get to the car, I get to have a snack, or I get to have some gum, or I get to have something preferred that I really like. And, you know, reading that book every single day and walking through, and you have it in your bag with you, and wherever you go, you bring your social story and you work through it. But again, that's something that will take time and will take setup as well to do that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think being proactive about this so that you're not reacting when he does run into the parking lot, but using these strategies proactively before it occurs so that he doesn't continue to think it's a game because you're playing chase. You could also talk about when it's safe to play chase.
Yeah.
It's safe to play chase in the grass at the park. It's safe to play chase down the hallway. It's not safe to play chase in the parking lot, something like that. And give him those opportunities to do that chase game.
I was also thinking games like Simon Says, where you, and even, you know, talking to the therapist who can do this as well in therapy, like Simon Says, you know, go or stop, or, you know, all those silly games of like listening and following the instructions, or even just like holding up a sign and that says stop, or holding up a sign that says go, and he's on one side of the room and you're on the other, and you hold up the sign and you say, okay, stop, go, and then he's running, stop, and working on that impulse control as well could be helpful.
Yeah. Hopefully some of these ideas are helpful. We do have other content. I can't remember if it's a YouTube video or a podcast.
Probably both.
On eloping and strategies for eloping. So we will put that in the show notes for more ideas.
Yep. If this was helpful, or if you have additional questions, let us know. You can always fill out our little Q&A form that's in the show notes and submit your question. And hopefully we can help you out and give you some strategies.
If this episode was helpful, make sure you share it with a friend. Make sure you leave us a review. Leave us a comment on YouTube. And make sure you subscribe.
Yep. And with that, we'll plan on seeing you next week for another episode.
Okay, bye.
Thank you so much for listening to All Things Sensory by Harkla.
If you want more information on anything mentioned in the show, head over to harkla.co/podcast to get the show notes.
If you have any follow-up questions, the best place to ask those is in the comments on the show notes or message us on our Instagram account, which is at Harkla_family or at All Things Sensory Podcast. If you just search Harkla, you'll find us there.
Like we mentioned before, our podcast listeners get 10% off their first order at Harkla. Whether it's for one of our digital courses or one of our sensory swings, the discount code SENSORY will get you 10% off. That's SENSORY.
Head to harkla.co/sensory to use that discount code right now.
We're so excited to work together to help create confident kids all over the world. While we make every effort to share correct information, we're still learning.
We will double check all of our facts, but realize that medicine is a constantly changing science and art.
One doctor or therapist may have a different way of doing things from another.
We are simply presenting our views and opinions on how to address common sensory challenges, health-related difficulties, and what we have found to be beneficial that will be as evidence-based as possible.
By listening to this podcast, you agree not to use this podcast as medical advice to treat any medical condition in either yourself or your child.
Consult your child's pediatrician or therapist for any medical issues that he or she may be having.
This entire disclaimer also applies to any guests or contributors to the podcast.
Thanks so much for listening.